today's video is very exciting. It's part 3 of my drugstore makeup video series where I will do a full face of first impressions. If you did not see part 1 and part 2 of my drugstore makeup video series, I will leave the videos linked down below. Those videos are haul videos, and some of these products I got from my local drugstore in person, and some of them I ordered from the Ulta website. So all of the products that I hauled in those videos, you're going to see me using today in a first impressions video. Now, all of these products are brand new to me. I've never used them before, and they were brand new out of the package today. So before we go ahead and get into this first impressions video, I just wanted to stop and say thank you so much to everybody who subscribed to my channel. My channel recently surpassed 2,000 subscribers and I am so blown away. I cannot believe it. I never thought my channel would grow this fast, and I never thought there would be even 100 people that would be interested in my content. It's actually funny because I was talking to a few of the girls that I teach dance to, and they reminded me that when I first started my channel, I said out loud, if I can get to 50 subscribers, I'll keep going. Like, that will be a sign for me that people are interested in my content and I'll keep making videos. And now that we are at 2,000 subscribers and I've only been on YouTube for 3.5 months, I am just so grateful. So thank you so much to everyone who's subscribed. I really hope you like my content. I'm reading all of your lovely comments. They're so great. I just love you guys so much. So thank you so much for being here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. If you want to see my first impressions of all of the drugstore products that I have purchased recently, keep watching. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. We have tons of products to test out. So for the face, I'm actually gonna zoom you in just a little bit. All right, so the first product I got from the drugstore to test out is primer, and this is the NYX Angel Veil Primer. So let's go ahead and open that up. Just put that on the face, okay. It has a good consistency for primer. It's very light, which I like. I don't feel like it's too heavy or cakey on my skin. And it does have a really nice smooth texture. So my skin does feel really soft after applying it. So I'm really liking this so far. So next we're gonna move on to foundation. And I did get this L'Oreal blending sponge. I am pretty happy with how much this expanded when I put it under water. And it does feel pretty soft and bouncy. And the foundation that I got is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. I got mine in the shade Nude Ivory. I didn't realize it actually has this little wand. Let's see. Okay, so as I'm blending this out, I'm feeling a little bit concerned about the coverage. It's not really covering my rosacea as much as I would like it to. Now, I'm not sure if that's the sponge soaking up a lot of the foundation or if this is just more of a sheer foundation. I'm not sure. So that's one layer of the foundation. Now I'm gonna go in and take a closer look. I definitely think I need more coverage, so I think I'm gonna have to go in with another application of foundation just in my problem areas, like where my face tends to be the reddest, around my cheeks. I have to say I don't love the finish of this foundation. It feels like it's settling into every fine line on my face. I don't know if that's the primer or the actual foundation itself, but this foundation does feel very drying. So I feel like if you have oily skin, you might like this foundation a little bit more, but for me, especially in my dry areas, I don't love it right off the bat, but we are gonna give it a chance. So I'm gonna put a little bit more on and see how it goes. So I blended out the second application, and I still have to say that I don't love the coverage on this. I can still see a lot of redness poking through on my face. I also feel like it's emphasizing texture a little bit, like I can still see like major bumps. So far I don't really love the way this is looking. This is not the best first impression I've ever had from a foundation, but we're just gonna put some more makeup on it and see how it wears on the face. All right, so the next product I got to try from the drugstore is setting powder, and this is the Maybelline MasterFix Setting and Perfecting Loose Powder. And I like to set my under eye using my beauty sponge, so I'm gonna go in with this L'Oreal sponge directly into the powder and use that to set my under eye area. So the first thing I notice is this powder is very finely milled, so much so that it's kind of going everywhere. You can see how much like dust I'm getting from that. Now on first touch, this actually does feel really nice and smooth. So I'm very happy with how it actually feels on my skin, but it is really powdery. All right, so the powder is on. Let's just take a closer look. So I actually do really like this setting powder. I like the way that it has laid down on my face and sort of created a really smooth appearance. It feels very soft as well, which I really like. If you compare it to the other parts of my face that aren't set, it feels a little bit sort of drier and more textured here, and it feels nice and smooth in the areas that I've actually set. So I'm happy with the setting powder so far, but I'm still really not liking this foundation. I feel like it makes me look very old, and I feel like you can see literally every fine line that I have, which I don't love, but we're gonna keep going anyways. I actually have my favorite Starbucks drink today because it's just a little too early to be drinking wine. This is a green tea lemonade. So to set the rest of my face, I'm feeling a little bit like Casper right now too. I don't know if it's like the white setting powder or maybe I got a foundation shade that was just a little too light for me, but I'm looking in my monitor, I'm like, holy man, I look white as a ghost. So I don't know if that's like, I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's flashback or what, but I really need to bronze up my face. Anyways, so now to set the rest of my face, I'm gonna go in with this Wet n Wild contouring palette. So I'm gonna use this lighter side here to set the rest of my face, and then I'm gonna go in with this color over here and use it as bronzer. Okay, so I've set the rest of my face, and I have to say I feel like I don't really love that side of the powder. I'm really picky when it comes to my setting powders because I'm used to using like Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish powder or the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk powder. Those are really high-end powders and really like finely milled, and they feel really super nice and soft on the skin. And this one is sort of just doesn't really live up to those two brands, nor would I expect it to as a drugstore brand. Okay, now to bronze up the face, I'm gonna go into the other side of this Wet n Wild contouring palette, the bronze side, and I'm gonna put that on a Morphe M527 brush. Let's take a look. All right, so my first impression of this is that it does have good pigmentation. I feel like I can definitely see the bronzer on my skin, which is good. And then I go in with a smaller Morphe brush, which is, this one is the M523, and I just put a little bit on the top to carve out my cheekbone. Okay, so you can definitely see the pigmentation of the bronzer. Don't worry, I'm gonna blend that out. This bronzer is very pigmented, but I don't find the blendability to be very good. I don't know, normally I can just put like a streak of bronzer on my cheekbone like that and then blend it out fairly easily, but I don't find this one to be too blendable. I'm just doing my everyday normal makeup routine, and I'm finding that I look a little bit muddy and not as blended as I normally do using these same techniques. So I wasn't really a fan of this contouring palette. All right, so now it's time to move on to blush, and we're kind of striking out a little bit here, but I really hope that this one is good. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Blush, and I love their butter bronzer. So I'm really hoping that this is just as good as that product. And I'm just gonna go in on this pigment. Oh, please be good, please be good, please be good. I just can't with this bronzer, like, oh my god. Instead, I'm gonna use this Morphe E34, which is a little bit denser, and try that. It is definitely very subtle, but after this bronzer situation, that's a good thing. Okay, so the blush is on, and this was definitely a win for me. I really like this formula. It did not disappoint. It feels just as nice as the butter bronzer. I like the fact that this shade is a little bit lighter and a little bit more sheer because it gives me just sort of like a subtle glow, a subtle flush in my cheeks. But yeah, I'm actually really happy with this blush. All right, so now it's time to move on to the brows. The product that I'm gonna try out here is the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer. So it does have a spoolie on one end and then the product on the other, and it is a really fine-tipped product. Okay, so the first thing I do when I'm going in my brows is just draw the outline of the brow shape that I want. So going in underneath first, okay. All right, so my first impression of this product, it's good. It's not too creamy, but I am definitely getting pigment out of it, so that's good. And I'll go over the top as well. Just sort of outline the shape that I want. Then I go to this side of my brow and I'll just start filling it in with nice, gentle upward strokes. And I definitely do feel like I'm getting some good pigmentation out of this brow pencil. And then from there, I'll just go ahead and fill in the rest of the brow, just filling in any sparse areas. Continuing to go in with the pencil until the brow is as dark as I would like it to be. So just looking in the monitor, this brow is pretty close to what I would want. It has like a decent arch and a nice point, so that looks good. So the next thing I'm gonna do is just blend it out with the spoolie side. This spoolie feels good. It's a little scratchy and I feel like it's pulling up the product a little bit too much. Like I'm blending my brow as hard as I normally would, and I feel like it's sort of blending some of the actual product away, especially in the areas that I don't have hair that I need to fill in. Okay, so both brows are done and on. I have to say I really do like this brow pencil. It's a good one. I don't really love the spoolie. That was the only thing that I thought was kind of scratchy and not that smooth, and I felt like if I pressed too hard it completely blended away the product, but I just went in with a little bit of a lighter hand and then it was fine. All right, so the next step in my everyday makeup routine is eye primer, and I got this Milani eyeshadow primer that is supposed to be a dupe for my beloved Smashbox 24-hour photo finish eye primer. Overall, it blended out okay, and it doesn't seem like there's too much of a tint to it or anything like that, so I guess we'll see how it goes. So while we're waiting for that eye primer to set down, the eyeshadow that I'm going to go in with is the NYX Ultimate Multi-Finish Eyeshadow Palette. I showed this one in my Ulta haul video. So the first thing I'm going to do is go in with this matte white color, and I'm going to set down the whole of my eyelid. Okay, so the shadow is picking up on the brush pretty well. Let's see how it performs on the eyes. Oh, very pigmented, that's good. So this is laying down quite nicely on the eyeshadow primer. I'm not finding any problems with dragging the product across my lid or blending it out with the brush or anything, so that's a really good sign for the eye primer. Okay, so now that the lids are set, I'm gonna zoom you in a little bit more so that you can see what I'm doing with my eyes. Okay, so the first color I'm going to go in with is this neutral brown right here. This is on a Morphe M441. I'm just going to dip my brush into the pan and sort of lightly go dust that through the crease. There's some good pigmentation. This was a clean brush, so there's some good pigmentation on there, which is really good. Okay, so I think the pigmentation is good on this. It seems to be blending out pretty well. It's a little bit more of a reddish color than I originally thought. I thought it was going to be sort of a neutral brown, but apparently not. So this eye look might go in a different direction. I guess we'll see. Okay, so that's the first color down. I definitely feel like there's good blendability and pigmentation with these shadows. I don't feel like it's very patchy or anything like that. It goes on really smoothly, and I didn't have to use a ton of pigment to achieve this depth here. So the next shade I'm gonna go in with is the one right above it, and that's this one right here. And I'm gonna see if I can use this to deepen up the crease a little bit. This is like more of a satin finish eyeshadow. Okay, so that shade didn't really do much except add a little bit of sheen to my eyes. It didn't really deepen it up at all. But this is definitely a lot more orangey and peachy than I expected it to turn out. They look a little bit more warm brown in the pan, but my eyes definitely look like they have a bit of orangey peachy tone to them. So since I've gone ahead and worked in this row right here, I am gonna go ahead and apply this color all over my lid and see how that works with the other two. So that's a little darker than I expected, but it looks pretty. It looks like sort of a coppery peach shimmery color, so let's see how that looks. Okay, so far not really impressed. Normally when I go in with shimmer shadows on my finger I get a ton of payoff, but this is not great. So just to try to add a little bit more of sparkle and dimension to my eye, I am gonna go in with this shade right here and just try and put that in the center of my lid. Okay, so that one's a lot more pigmented actually, but I definitely like that one a lot better. I feel like it added a little bit of extra dimension and sparkle to my eyelids, which I really love, so that's good. Okay, so for the lower lash line, I'm just gonna go into that original matte shade. See if we can get some pigment off of that. There is good pigmentation in these shadows. They're just not my favorite, and I have really high standards when it comes to eyeshadow, so. And then using a pencil brush and that satin shade in the middle, I'm just gonna go ahead and blend that out. Ugh. And when I sort of like stretch my face like that to blend out my shadow, I can already see that this foundation is creasing. And settling into my fine lines underneath my eyes. Not cool. Okay, so the lower lash line is blended out, and now for brow bone highlight, I'm gonna go into this satin finish one right here. I'm hoping it won't be too sparkly. Okay, that's pretty. So that's pretty subtle, which I really like in a brow bone highlight. It adds a little bit of extra shimmer, but nothing too crazy. So I feel like that shadow was really nice for a brow bone highlight. And for the inner corner, I'm gonna go back into this really shimmery shade that I put all over the center of my lid and dot that into the inner corner. So now moving on to eyeliner, I have the e.l.f. Intense Ink Liner Pen. All right. I also find it difficult to talk while I'm doing this, but let's see what the first stroke is like. I mean, it's not the most pigmented felt tip liquid liner that I've tried, but went on pretty decently and not having to go over it too many times. Okay, so I'm actually pretty happy with this liner. I was able to do both eyes without the pen drying out, which can be a problem on some felt tip liquid liners. This was actually pretty good, and I really like that it's nice and dark black, and it doesn't seem to be running or like creasing off or anything like that. It looks pretty decent. So next we're moving on to mascara, and as you know, I am ride or die for Better Than Sex and Lash Paradise, so it was very upsetting to me to have to try a new mascara, but here we go anyways. This is the L'Oreal Telescopic Carbon Black Mascara. So let's take a look at the wand. Oh my god. That is the thinnest mascara wand that I've ever seen, and those are the shortest bristles that I've ever seen. It feels kind of flimsy and like it doesn't have much product on it, but let's go ahead and see how this works. Oh wow, I was not expecting that. Huh. That is a big surprise. Wow, I can't believe this. I am really, really impressed with the lengthening properties of this mascara and also how black it is. That is like such a shock. I never would have expected that this wand could do that. I don't think it's adding much in the way of volume. Like when I try to sort of like jiggle the brush at the base of my lashes and then brush up, that's where some of the clumps happen. So you're not gonna get much like sort of thickness and volume from this mascara, but I am very, very impressed with the difference that this has made in my lashes. Holy smokes. All right, so the next part of this look is going to be highlighter. And since this is an everyday sort of daytime look, I didn't want to go right in with a super blinding highlighter. So this is the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter, and I've heard that this is sort of a really nice natural looking one. Now, I have heard that you do have to sort of scratch the top off of this highlighter so that you can get to the good stuff underneath. I don't know why, but that's what we're gonna do because I've heard that's what you have to do. So I'm just gonna kind of go in with my finger and sort of try to dust up the top layer of this product. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's fairly pretty. And it's not as sheer and sort of natural looking as I originally thought it was gonna be. So probably went in with a little bit too much, but oh well, there's no such thing as too much highlighter. What am I talking about? I'd say this is definitely a win. I really like this highlighter, it's nice. Okay, so I just shut the blinds in here, so I'm sorry the lighting is a little bit different than it was before. I'm actually pretty happy with how the eyes turned out. I feel like it's like sort of a natural, pretty look. Some of the products were a hit for me and some of them were a miss, and we're gonna go over that at the end, but overall, I'm happy with how this is turning out so far. All right, so the last thing I'm gonna do for the daytime portion of this look is just go in and swipe on a pink gloss. This is the L'Oreal Infallible 8-Hour Pro Gloss, and this is in the shade Petal. Ooh. Feels good on my lips. I am really happy with this gloss. I feel like it's not so sticky that it's going to be annoying, but it's just sticky enough that it's going to have some staying power and it's going to stay on my lips and not just come off like when I take one sip of water. So I am very, very impressed with this gloss. I really love it. It's probably going to become a staple in my makeup collection, to be honest. So I have to say I'd be pretty happy with this outside of the obvious blending issues for an everyday makeup look, but now I want to add a couple of more products to the face that I found at the drugstore that will take this from a daytime look to a nighttime look. So I'm going to go back into this NYX Multi-Finish eyeshadow palette, and the darkest shade that I see in there is this purple one right here. So we're going to try and use that one to deepen up the outer corner a little bit. This is a very pigmented shadow. So I'm really happy with how this is performing. I just want to be really careful about how I blend it out because I don't want it to ruin the eye look that I already have going. So to blend it out, I'm going to take a brush that doesn't have any product on it, and I'm just going to very lightly start to blend it into the eye look that I currently have. Okay, so the eyes definitely look a lot more smoky and sultry since I added that darker shadow. I also popped on a pair of lashes off of camera, and these are the Ardell Studio Effects lashes. I really like these lashes. They look really full and thick and wispy, perfect for a night out. They're definitely not a lash that I would wear during the day as they are very dramatic, but I feel like if you go somewhere that's dark, or if you're going to a Christmas party, or you're going somewhere that requires you to look really glam, I think these lashes are really beautiful. And then the last thing that I would do when taking my look from day to night is to add a little bit of a bolder lip. So I have two colors here in these Infallible Pro Matte Liquid Lipsticks. So this one is in the shade Plum Bum, and this one is in the shade Stirred, and it's sort of like a deep red. So I think I'm gonna go for this one because this is something that I would normally wear if I was doing an evening type of look. I'm really nervous to do this without a lip liner, but it didn't even occur to me to buy a drugstore lip liner, so here we go. That is a dark color. Okay, I am in love with this color, and I am in love with this formula. I cannot believe how nicely this went on. It went on like super creamy. It hasn't dried down all the way down yet, but wow, like it's such a beautiful formula and so pigmented. Like I only had to put one coat of this liquid lipstick on and I got pure opacity. Like I am so excited. It is taking a while to dry down and it still feels a little bit sticky on my lips. So I don't know how long it's gonna take to dry down completely matte, but because I feel like right now I would still have some transfer. I don't wanna mess it up, but yeah, look, yeah. So I don't know how long it takes to dry down completely matte, but this is a really pretty liquid lipstick. I love it. So the very last step and the very last product that I have in this full face of drugstore first impressions is this Milani Make It Last setting spray. And I have really high hopes for the setting spray because I've heard such great things about it. So let's go ahead and set this look. Okay, it has kind of a weird smell, but that's fine. I really love the mist on this. Like it's a very fine mist. It feels good on the face. It doesn't feel like a water gun to the face, which is good because sometimes when you use a setting spray and the mist is not fine, the liquid can actually go all over your face and it can actually wreck your makeup instead of setting it in place. All right guys, so that completes this look. Now let's go ahead and get into my final thoughts. All right guys, so let's start with the products that I would probably give a pass. The first one is this Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation, and you know what? That really disappoints me because I've heard so many people say that they love this foundation. Now, if you're somebody who has more oily skin and you're not super duper dry like I am, you will probably enjoy this foundation, but for me, I just felt like I need something that's a little bit more creamy and doesn't settle into my fine lines. The next thing that was kind of a pass for me was this Wet n Wild Contouring Palette. I definitely did not like the bronzer. It did not blend out well on me. I still look super duper muddy, and I can actually see the bronzer kind of like settling on my ear and not looking super great, and it was really difficult to blend out. I didn't mind this side of the contouring palette, and I thought that it did a good job of setting my makeup down and sort of blurring some of the fine line issues that I had with the foundation, but overall I don't think that this is a very good palette, and I have a lot of other products in my collection that would be better than this. Now moving on to the products that were just sort of okay. I didn't hate them, I didn't love them. The first is this NYX eyeshadow palette. I thought that it did the trick, and I do feel like my eyes look very good, but I just feel like there's other products on the market, even affordable ones, that do better than this eyeshadow palette. I thought these did okay. I thought the blendability was good. I thought the pigmentation was all right, but I've just worked with way better eyeshadows, and I just don't think the drugstore is the best place to get eyeshadows. So this was okay, and if I was in a pinch, I would definitely be able to use it and be very happy with my look, but I wasn't in love with it. The next thing that was sort of okay for me as well was this setting powder. I thought that it felt really nice and soft on my skin. I just feel like my face doesn't look as smooth as it normally does, and so I wasn't totally happy with this, but I felt like it made my face look really soft, so I didn't hate it either. The next thing that I thought was okay too was this NYX Angel Veil Primer. When I put it onto my face, it felt smooth, it felt velvety. It didn't feel like it really dried out my skin a lot, but then once I put foundation on it, some shit happened, and I don't know if it was the primer's fault or the foundation's fault, but I do think that this is a good primer, and I would pull it out of my collection and use it if I was just like grabbing for something quickly. I do intend to try this primer out with a bunch of other foundations just to see if I like it a little bit better. I do want to try this out a couple more times so I can see if I can isolate the problem of what happened here today. So yeah, this was just okay. And the next thing that was just okay for me was this e.l.f. Intense Ink Liquid Liner. It is a felt tip pencil and I thought it went on really well, but I've just used other better ones before. My Kat Von D Tattoo Liner in Trooper is a lot better than this. It's a lot more pigmented, it's a lot more wet. This didn't dry out for me at all by any means, but I also felt like it wasn't super duper saturated in the felt tips. So yeah, like it did the trick and I liked it okay, so not too bad. And then the last thing that I liked okay was this L'Oreal Carbon Black Telescopic Mascara. I was very, very pleasantly surprised at how dark my lashes were and how long they were, but the brush is really, really interesting. So I don't know, like I feel like if this is the only mascara I had, I wouldn't be mad about it. Like I would be able to use it and I would be happy with the results, but I've just used other better ones. And so this isn't replacing Lash Paradise as my favorite drugstore mascara anytime soon, but it did the trick. Okay, so now moving on to the things I loved. The first is this Physicians Formula Butter Blush. I love the formula, I love the smell. I love that it was just a really nice natural glow on the cheeks. This is a really, really pretty blush, and if you like a subtle blush look, you will really, really love this blush. And I do intend to go out and buy the other shade that's a little bit darker just to see if it has a little bit more pigmentation and you can use it for more of a sort of a dramatic cheek look, but I really love this blush and this was a definite win for me. The next thing that was a win for me was this L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer. I really liked using this pencil. Again, I thought the spoolie was a little scratchy, but that, you know, that would only make it lose like 1/4 of a point. Like it was still a really good brow pencil. I feel like I got a nice natural feathery brow look out of it. It was easy to use. It wasn't too creamy and it wasn't too dry. I would put this on par with the NYX Micro Brow Pencil as like a go-to drugstore brow pencil. This was really good. The next thing I really loved is these Ardell Studio Effects lashes that I'm wearing. They're so dramatic and really sort of fluffy and wispy looking. And I really love the fact that they're the longest in the middle. So I feel like these lashes look really good on me. They're nice and long and they look really feathery. So this was also a definite win, and I think I'm gonna buy the 4-pack of these for sure. I really loved the lip products. So this is the Infallible Pro Gloss. This was really, really pretty. It wasn't too sticky, but it wasn't too like slippery. I didn't feel like it was gonna fall off my lips anytime soon. I really love the shade Petal. It's like a go-to pink gloss for me. So this is definitely going to be entering my makeup collection and used on a regular basis. And then I also really loved this Pro Matte Liquid Lipstick. Now, what I will say is this lipstick did not completely dry down, so I wouldn't agree with the claim that it is a matte liquid lipstick. As you can see, it's still transferring a little bit, so I would say this is more of a satin finish, but I love the opacity. I love that this is just one coat of liquid lipstick, and I love the fact that it is such a beautiful shade. It was really easy to work with. I loved the doe foot applicator, so this is a definite win in my book. I also loved these Milani products, so I really liked the setting spray. I thought the mist was really great. We're gonna have to see how my makeup turns out before I can make a determination on if it's like a good setting spray, if the quality is good. But I had a really good first impression of this, so I'm anxious to see what my makeup looks like in, you know, another couple of hours. And then I did like this eyeshadow primer as well. I've been wearing this eyeshadow now for probably about an hour and a half as I've like gone through and filmed the different parts of this video, and it still looks pretty good. There's no creasing, there's no problem areas with my shadow, so I feel like this might be a good dupe for my Smashbox one, but time is gonna tell. First impression was good though. And then the thing that I was the most surprised about was this Essence Pure Nude highlighter. Wow, like I cannot believe how pretty this highlighter is and like how blinding it is. This is such a good product, and I have to say, out of all of these products that I tried out today, this one surprised me the most, and this is the one that I think is the most worth going and picking up, because if I can remember correctly, I think this was like $4.99 or $5.99, like amazing value and a great, great drugstore highlighter. So this was a major win. All right, guys, that is it for my full face of first impressions from the drugstore. I really, really hope you enjoyed part 3 of this drugstore makeup video series. If you want to see more drugstore products incorporated into my videos or more videos dedicated only to drugstore products, just let me know in the comments down below. We did find quite a few great drugstore products today, so I'd be very, very happy to do more drugstore makeup tutorials and drugstore hauls for you guys. Don't forget to stay tuned to my channel for my holiday giveaway. I am so excited about the products that I'm going to be giving away for the holiday season. And as always, guys, if you liked this video, please subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment down below letting me know the kind of videos you want to see me do in the future. And if you didn't like this video, keep that shit to yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.